We are live. Emma Matthews, Burnout and Performance Coach, Cheryl Thompson, Leadership Coach here on a Monday morning. Jumping on because we've got some exciting news about a master course that we are about to launch. So we're jumping on really quickly because Monday mornings are always hectic and busy for everybody, some more than others. And we wanted to talk about what we're going to offer to people and what you'll get from it and if this is for you. So Emma, do you want to jump in on the is this you?
Yeah, definitely. And Monday morning is such a good check-in point for this. So basically at this time of the week, if you're already starting the week feeling disgruntled, looking at the diary, feeling like there's more to do than hours in the day, feeling exhausted, feeling like you're giving more than you're getting in the position that you have, those are all incredible signs that there's something that's out of balance, which is probably a boundary. There's a boundary that should be there or one that's not being enforced, and everything is just getting out of balance. So if you feel like that on a Monday, it's really, really telling, because by this point we should have recharged over the weekend, reframed how we're thinking. But quite often, I remember from my own experience, it doesn't play out like that. So if you see yourself in that list, this is the master course for you, because it's going to help you go really deep on understanding what those boundaries are across work, personal, social lives, and just really how that you can get boundaries in place that are completely in line with your values and your beliefs. So Cheryl, back to you.
Yeah, and if you don't mind me, you're so much more articulate and wonderful than I am in this sense, because the way you describe your Monday morning, my Monday morning, I would say it was similar, but mine was just more angry. So I would wake up on a Monday morning and I would have dread, like a black feeling in the pit of my stomach. And sometimes I used to think, if you convinced me that I had chains around my ankles, I would have believed you, because my body felt heavy to lift up. I felt snappy, frustrated, annoyed. I used to also, and I'm not proud to say this, get really resentful over the people that were breezy. You know, the people that were like, morning. I used to think things in my head that I can't say on here on a Monday morning on LinkedIn, which you can imagine what they were. And then felt shame and guilt. And so that was my Monday morning, like this constant cycle of anger and shame. And when you start to snap at the people you love, that's when you know you've got to do something different. And just like you, Emma, what I discovered was my boundaries were completely being breached, completely. And I didn't know how to row back from that. That was the scariest thing. And what I needed at that time is what you and I are going to present to LinkedIn, to people, to everyone. What I needed was to know how to solve that. I needed lots of things, but the ultimate thing was, how do I stop feeling this way and taking it out on people that I care about? And how do I get back to the person that I always knew I could be and always knew I was? And the terrifying thing is wondering whether you can. So for me, that was what used to go through my head on a Monday. Is all of this possible? And is there something wrong with me? So if anyone sat there feeling this way, or do you know, that day were our descriptions. I know other people as well that just felt confused or lost. So if you're waking up on a Monday morning and feeling anything that isn't healthy and positive and the way you want to be, you are very likely, to your point, Emma, got a boundaries issue. That you might not call it that, but that's what it is. And that's what we want to help with. Nobody should feel like that way any day of the week. But God, you don't want to feel like it on a Monday when you've got 5 of those days to go. So that's why you and I sat together and thought this is something that we need to present to the world, because we've both been there and we've both recovered and both had lives better than we've ever had them before. And we want that for everybody, right?
Yeah, and it's the work I find with clients, it's the common theme. It always goes back to boundaries issues, whether someone comes and they're feeling, I don't know, like they're burning out, lost in their career, there's always an element of boundaries in it. So I've been thinking for a while, need to do a course around this. Perfect timing.
Doesn't keep coming up for nothing. We believe in these synchronicities, so they're popping up for a reason. So you and I got ourselves together and we thought about what we would have needed back then. And I mean, there's more to talk about than we've got here, but then we'd be delivering the course if we did that anyway. But one of the things that we think is important is understanding what a boundary is and what it isn't, having full clarity on that. So people talk about what boundaries are, but when somebody shines the light on you, when you reflect backwards, that's what we want to do here. We want to actually say, but what does that mean to you as an individual? Not to what you read in books, not to what you read on social media. What does it mean to you? And we've built tasks and exercises that help people be able to go back and reflect on that and see it for themselves. Because I think that's the truth in the matter, isn't it? Instead of looking at what other people talk about, it's individual.
What it means to you and how you actually feel about it, because so many people come to the conversation on boundaries almost seeing it like it's a barrier, when actually it should be a real enabler. So that's a big piece that we go deep on, how you can see boundaries as an enabler, something that leads to greater productivity, feeling happier at work, and not a barrier on either side.
And I think that's the important bit on either side, because when people talk about boundaries, it almost feels like people are going, stop, back off. And it doesn't have to be that way. So lots of people get quite fraught in how do you communicate your boundary without it becoming a barrier or a prevent easy for me to say, prevention. That's the word I'm trying to say. Prevention for any other opportunities. So that's what we want to help with. We want to look at intentions as well. So what are the intentions behind your boundaries? That's a really big piece of this work. And I think most people have never done this piece of work. And it's not a once and done, but doing it for the first time is really eye-opening. And we want to do that with people in a safe environment where they come out of this with a real clarity and understanding of who they are and what this means to the world and how they communicate that. And that first step is huge. And the reason why I say first step is because this is a series, isn't it, Emma? We're not doing a once and done here. We're going to do chapters on what these boundaries are, because it's a huge subject.
Yeah, it's absolutely vast. So what we've decided to do is do a series, exactly as Cheryl said, where we're going to have at least 4 chapters. So 1 a fortnight. So you've got the time to come, immerse, and then actually have 2 weeks of practical application, because it's only when you get into that phase of what does it mean in my working life, my home life, and start to implement it, so that some of the best questions come up. So we've deliberately designed it so that you get taken from A to Z and have the time to do the work in the middle of that as well, which is really important. But we also have an option if people want to do it in chunks as well.
Yeah. I've got to be honest, my recommendation would be to do the four, because it depends where you come into things, but this is a journey as well. This is how I see it. We've built it as an incremental journey. And I just want to echo this isn't theory. I mean, it is, but it isn't theory in isolation. And that's why we've planned the 2-week gap in between, because you have to go out and do. If you just sat on the end of a live like this, just listening and absorbing, that's great. But the difference between successful people and happy people is that they go out and put what they've learned into practice in their own lives, not just learn. We can all learn, but it's the action, and that's what we want to see as well, that you've taken action in your own world. And by the end of the series, what the aim is that you essentially reclaim who you are. You take back all of your personal power, and that you use this for your own leverage and benefit in the world, and everybody around you benefits because of that. This is not just I'm all right, Jack. By you understanding what your boundaries are, you make everything better for everybody, and you actually role model the right behaviors for other people too. So any leaders that are watching this is incredibly important for you as well. Don't think this is just for somebody else. This is for you, because when you have healthy boundaries, not barriers, so do your team around you, and so do your family and your friends and those that you care about. So we're really excited about this, aren't we, Emma?
Yeah, it's the thing that I wish I had a few years ago, actually.
Me too. And then the only other thing that I'd say on that, because it's the thing that I wish I'd had years ago. The thing that I wish I'd had years ago was a network outside of my network, which might sound bizarre. So I had a network which was about earning money, turning up, having a job, being responsible. And that was a brilliant network to have. But having that independent network, I didn't have that. I just had people that were vested in my success. So either I've succeeded or failed. And that felt really pressured. But if I'd had that network outside, which I've only really discovered since I started coaching, I didn't know it was there before. And if I could gift anything to the people that are now turning up to work for somebody right now, in whatever job they're in, having that independent network is breathtaking. having someone else have your back that has no other interest about having your back, but because they do, is really valuable. And that's what this will create as well, because there'll be other people turning up to this, and you'll have Emma and you'll have me. So even having that space for you outside of your working environment is magical. It really is.
Yeah, because you don't know what you don't know. And we all just get so conditioned to the environment that we're in. It's very difficult sometimes to get that helicopter view. And sometimes just by hearing a question that someone else asks, you get a huge insight.
You're learning by just being there, aren't you? You might not have. I'd have done that with you a million times, Emma, because we were in our own coaching group, weren't we? We were in our own mastermind. And when you'd hear someone else ask a question, and almost in the week later, you're like, thank God I heard that. Because I didn't need it last week, but I need it this week. Yeah, exactly. So, Emma, I think you are going to put the links to this, because this is a, like we said, 4 chapters, but we think it probably will end up having something more, but it'll be a minimum of 4 fortnightly. It's in a format where there's a registration. So you go into the link that you're about to share, and you can either buy individual chapters like you've mentioned, Emma, or you can do the full group, which again, and there's a discount for buying the full group, because we think that the beauty is in the full journey. Each module has its own learning outcomes and its own work to do at the end of it, which is only, and when I say work, by the way, this is not about putting more work onto people, but this works within your own working environment. So it complements what it is you're doing. And that's where you go out and you learn your own experience, and you can come back and speak to us about what that was. So Emma, I think you're going to put in the links, aren't you, in this commentary?
Yeah. When we come off the live, I'll put the links in there. If you have any questions, you can message us either individually or under the live. We'll come back to you to give you a sense of what the experience is going to feel like. It's going to be like this, but you'll be on screen with us, obviously not broadcasting to LinkedIn, in a private classroom. Very interactive. And if any of the sessions happen to be a time that you're working, you'll have access to the replay. So there's no issue in getting behind. You'll have everything that you need to completely transform your boundaries over the course of us working together.
Yeah, which is huge. Okay, I think on a Monday morning, 12 minutes is enough for everybody. Okay, so thank you everybody for listening. We're really excited about this, and we know the impact this will make. So like Emma says, you know where we are, get involved. Emma will post the links, sign up. It would be brilliant to see you there. Have a great Monday.
Bye.
Bye. And now press